Hey guys, Grandpa Vic here. This is the LS harness Gen 4 part 4. This is what I did because I don't want the harness running across the top of the engine through here. I don't want it there. Now I've seen people, talk about taking the harness and, you got 1, 3, 5, 7, talking about swapping them in the harness, swapping them in the harness and this and that. I'm not doing that. So what I did was I started releasing the harness. I started releasing the harness so it would relax to where I want it. See, then this wraps back down behind the head. There's the coolant temp sensor right here. It's a little tight right now because I got to lift it back up. But I relayed the injector harnesses the way I want, the coil. And if you look, I pulled the oil sending unit back out of the harness, put it where I wanted. All I did was cut a couple of these clips and it laid out exactly the way I wanted it. Now this is the transmission harness. Well, the transmission harness also has the upper and lower O2 sensors in it. See, here's the downstream O2 sensor there. All I did was release it a little bit. I know it looks a little confusing, but it's not. As soon as you cut a couple clips and release it, it relaxes, and all of a sudden you end up with a whole long harness. And it's not. That's the downstream right there, because of the way GM ran it. But that's the downstream, and that's the upstream. That's the upstream right there. But that's the transmission harness. As soon as you cut a couple clips, everything will relax the way you want it. It looks confusing, but it's not. Look at this. This is the relaxed harness. I cut a few of these clips, laid it the way I want it, and restrapped it. Now this is the mass airflow. I got it right here right now because I have it relaxed. This is the harness. That's one hooks the fuse box. These are the two that hook to the computer, the E38 computer. And then this garbage right here is the one that went to the truck. Well, that's coming out. If you look, the wires run back down and up and down. So as soon as you start depenning it and getting rid of that, this thing's garbage. It's gone. Once you start relaxing, see, this is the harness that went to the purge solenoid from the gas tank. Well, I won't be using that. It's garbage. That was right here on that intake. This one don't have one. But as you start relaxing the harness the way you want it, see, here's the one for the throttle body. This is the mass airflow sensor. See it? It's just laying there. Here's the upper O2 sensor. It's just laying there. It looks confusing, but it's not. All I did was pull this one out a little bit. This is the downstream, the bank 2 sensor 2, O2, the O2 sensor. All I did was pull it back just a little bit. That's going to be garbage. Now once you start going and depenning it, all this will come out of the harness. See how this is relaxed? The injectors are nice and relaxed. See? Here's the coil pack. As you start laying it the way you want it, instead of going across the top of the intake. I watched somebody earlier was talking about to get these harnesses, the injector harness laid like this. He went in the computer and started switching and changing pins and doing this and doing that. All I did was change a couple clips. I pulled a couple clips, let it relax, and look, my harness is going to run behind the engine. I don't have to do all that. It's going to run right behind the engine instead of across the top of my intake. So it's still going to be neat. It's still going to be clean. It's still going to be very neat, very clean. See, here's my block grounds. This is the wire that runs across the front of the block. It's still there. This is the wire it runs to my knock sensor on the driver's side. See? The clip, everything's relaxed. It looks confusing, but it's not. That is my coolant temperature sensor that goes right here, which I gotta lift the harness up. It's a little tight right now, see? There you go. See? Goes right there to the coolant temp. It's relaxed. It's got weight on it right now because of the actual main harness right here. That's got all the excess wires in it that I haven't pulled out yet. Once I pull all these excess wires out, like this garbage here that went to the truck that I don't need, that's a lot of wires right there. Look, as soon as I started pinning that and pulling it out, it's gone. All these wires are going to thin down. Instead of being this big trunk, it's going to be about the size of your thumb. A lot of these wires are gone. All you got to do is go on lt1swaps.com, download the schematics, and it'll tell you what ones to pull out, which is actually from the computer. These actually have numbers on them. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it in my shed with the light. Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see the numbers. But there's actually numbers on each one of these wires. I'm trying to... It's not the best right now. Each one of these wires has a number. And the numbers you pull out, it'll actually tell you what it's underneath this clip right here. Each one of these wires has a number. And you actually coincide that with the schematics from lt1swaps.com, and it'll literally tell you which one of these wires to pull out. It looks really confusing. Me, I'm not an electrician. Wires scare the hell out of me. And I've seen this done, especially on Gen4 harness, from You Can Do It. I think You Can Do It, or I Can Do It, or something like that channel. I watched him do a Gen3 harness, and it was simple. It really is. Gen4 ain't no different. See, this is the downstream I'm getting rid of. I've already pulled it back. I've already pulled it back out of the harness a little bit, and look, I got all this wire. It looks confusing the way I'm showing you, but it's not. It's really simple. My oil sending unit wire is long because I pulled it back out of the harness a little bit. All I did was cut a couple of these clips and pulled it back out. Now I can relax it and run the transmission harness the way I want it. It's really simple. It looks confusing, but it's not. Right now you're looking at the wires going, oh my God, look at the spaghetti. It's spaghetti. Oh my goodness. It's spaghetti. Once you cut a couple of these, this harness relaxes and you can lay it the way you want it. You can run it this way. These right here, I can literally run them on the inside of the fuel rail, pull them out from the inside, and plug them in. They'll actually hide in behind the injector rail if I wanted it to. Because look, I have enough wire, I can literally tuck it in behind it. I don't care to. I don't care about it being that neat. But I do want it pulled back, you know, laid across. I don't want it running across the top of the intake and looking that bad. I mean, I don't want it looking that beat up. I'm not that much of a hack. But it is not that hard. It's actually a lot easier than you think. Once you actually start putting your fingers on it and doing what I just did, look, that's the driver's side, or the passenger side. Got a plug for the throttle body. It comes back. You got the injectors that come off of it. The injectors come out right off of it, and look, the coil plug. Now, if I wanted to, I can take these and hide them in behind the fuel rail, and actually bring them out from under the fuel rail and plug them in. I'm not doing all that. I ain't that involved. I just want to get it together and get it running. Like I said, I done pulled it back. That's my upstream mode 2 sensor. It plugs back here, you know. This was the downstream. I've already pulled it back a little bit. It's not hard. It really looks like it is, but it's not. This is the actual positive cable from the battery. This was on the firewall. That went to the alternator. This actually goes to the factory fuse block that runs around the other side and plugs in. When you guys actually start laying your fingers on this, it's scary. When you first do it, it's like, oh my God, there's so many wires. There's like a million wires and stuff, and it's scary as hell. It's really not. Me, I panic when it comes to wires. Oh my God, there's a blue and green and red and yellow and blah, 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 blah. But now that I've actually started doing this, it's simple. It's not that hard. You can start cutting clips as the harness relaxes. You can run the wires the way you want them and this and that. And then once you get them laid out the way you want them, you reclamp them. Now once I lay this out on a bench, I can start strapping it and re-putting new wire loom and stuff on it the way I want it. And when I put it in the car, it'll be laid out exactly the way I want it. It'll be a little bit neater and clean. I mean, I'm not some of these guys do these $100,000 freaking jobs and stuff, but it'll look a lot better than it did factory running across the freaking top of the intake and this huge harness falling over, and but it will look better. I ain't trying to do that good of a job. You know, I want to get her up, get her running, kind of look a little neat, you know, a little bit better. But I ain't trying to be, you know, up there with some of the high-end guys, because I don't care about all that. I want to get it in, get it running. Like, you know, Freiberg and Finnegan say, don't get it right, just get it running, fix it later. Well, I'm kind of half fixing it the way I want it when I put it in, so it's not so rough later, all right? It is not that damn hard. But anyways, I just want to give you guys a little bit of update. You know, just got home from the hospital today. I just want to come out here and play with my harness a little bit. I'm doing good. But anyways, just want to give you guys a little bit of an update. A little bit of an update. So, talk to you later. Deuces!